Take two of me and John shit posting. Anyway, so I had a great conversation. By the way, this is Real with Robo for those that don't know, but I'm shit posting with John today. Because I feel like shit posting and getting some of the shit off my chest. And because I can cuss again, because it ain't Sunday. Anyway, so I just had a great tete-a-tete with this one guy, okay? He said, if Ben Shapiro makes you angry, then you're a beta. And I'm like, how that is a beta? Because I don't agree with all of his opinions, and I have my own, and I use my own mind and own logic to support those opinions. I mean, you got to look at it. Ben Shapiro himself says that he doesn't expect people to agree with him all the time because, hey, he might be wrong. He rarely is, but he might be. And those times that he is wrong, I don't agree with him. Not all the time. Sometimes I agree with him when he's wrong, and then I'm wrong, and then I gotta say I'm sorry, but I'm never wrong, so that just tell you something. Okay. Also, you missed John calling me a twat, which is sad. It's very sad. Can you call me a twat again, dear?
You're a twat, but I love you anyway.
Yes. I make him sick, but he don't want me to go away.
Making me sick with the flu doesn't count.
That's literally making you sick. How does that not make you... Making you sick with the flu is making you sick. It's a literal definition of it.
Blank, blank, blank.
Wave the hand and look at him like, what?
Anal retentive much? Much too much.
I told you I was getting Marini, folks. I'm getting Marini. And yes, you could steal that word because anything that describes a Marine, well, a Marine from legend, you know, if you find something extremely badass that devastates creation, that would be very Marine-y. Right, babe?
I devastate creation?
Yeah.
When the hell did I do that?
All the time.
Oh.
You devastate shit. That's very Marine-y.
Okay.
In wars, Marines kick ass. So do our other military branches. But when you're talking about true explosions and craters and shit like that, that's very Marine-y. See, I've got an argument to back this up too.
I see.
Thank you. Thank you. I will remind you when back in World War II, when the Japanese general said, those guys that wear the yellow pants, those are army. It's okay to shoot at them. Those other guys that wear the green pants, don't shoot at them. They're Marines. And so what did the Marines do? They traded pants with the army. Very Marine-y. Because they were on their mission of devastating creation. And I love it. I love devastating creation. I believe that anytime that we see the United States military, especially Rangers in the Army, because Rangers in the Army, even though they're very Army, they're very Marine-y. Anytime you see any of those people, basically robo-vets, in one area, and there's a crater, and they're all looking around like, we don't know how that got there. They know how that got there. They know how. They know. They know. Anyway, back to my argument. And so I was like, you know, dude, you need to pay attention to what Ben says. Not everybody's going to agree with him all the time, and he knows that. And if you could come with the, proper argument and a logical one, then it may just change his mind on his views on it. So how is that beta? Because that isn't beta, bitch. That's called alpha. And just because, I'm in the realm of Trump supporters, because yes, I am going to vote for Trump. Huh! We all know that. Former Dem, nonpartisan now. I still call myself a Dem because it pisses Dems off. You're not a Dem, you're a traitor. You're not a Dem. You're a traitor, you voted red. Traitor. And I'm like, prove it in a court of law. Shut up then. Anyway, so then, even though I go into the realm of Trump supporters, it's basically like this, folks. Just because Trump says that's bad, I don't automatically think, oh, that must be bad. I say, why is it bad? Let me go find out. And then I do what we were all taught in kindergarten, read about it. Read. That funny thing where you look at the letters, form the words in your mind from knowing what the words are, from a lot of schooling and a lot of experience in life, and you say, hey, that is bad. But it's because I've read it, and this, and this, and this, and this backs up my argument for it is bad. I don't just go out there and say, well, Trump said that it was bad, so it's bad.
One of the 3 R's.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Exactly.
Except for they missed the A on arithmetic.
And the W on writing.
Yes. People don't know how to fucking spell. Fucking old school people. Talking about reading, writing, arithmetic. Anyway. And yes, I make fun with the Southern accent because I'm Southern and I could do that. I also make fun of everybody else, so Southern people aren't like, well, she's making fun of the South. But it's not quite like Don Lemon because she makes fun of everybody else too. I do. I have no genre for who I pick on. I pick on everybody. Now the Don Lemon thing, he could go to hell. Because the most stupid thing, there's been many, very, very many of them to pick from, but the stupidest thing I've heard from him, most stupid, because we wouldn't want to be called ingrates, would we? And the most stupid thing I've heard from him is that white men are the greatest threat to the world. I'm like, bruh, you blow one every night. I hope he's not the girl in your relationship. Because if so, man, you gonna hear it when you get home. Bruh. Yeah. Well, you said that we were the greatest threat. I love you, and you love me, right? 17,000 hours later. And women, you do that shit. Don't lie. We nag the fuck out of people. Why'd you say that? Oh, and don't let him be on his period either. Oh, wait, that's right. My bad. I'm such a twat. Anyway, so he say that they're the greatest threat to mankind. I'm like, bro, you sleep with one. They're the greatest threat on your butthole, maybe.
Oh.
And I actually passed that joke by a gay person, so I'm okay. You can laugh at it, okay? Because you have to have that kind of permission these days. It's like, if you make a black joke, you gotta go, bruh, you're black. Is this funny? It's funny? Cool. Is it okay if I say this? Yeah? Cool. I'm gonna put that on there. Bruh. Okay, you're transgender. Can I make this joke? It's good? Alright, you laughing? Alright, thank you. And sometimes even me being a woman, I have to go, you're a woman. Is this joke okay? Robo, you're a woman too. What the fuck, man? And I'll be like, just checking, making sure it's okay with other women that I say that. Is this okay? Talking about our periods? We're good? Good? Okay, good. God knows with all them little fucking sensitive men out there. The little pansy-ass betas. Speaking of betas. You have to go to them. Excuse me. Will this joke hurt your man feelings? You know, since you've lost your balls and grown a twat. Can I make this joke? Good. Thank you so much. You find it? Okay, good. What? Men have lost their balls these days. Like
Yeah, I know. What's that new term? Simp?
Simp. I watched this one video where this chick opened up the door. And I seriously thought from my days, okay, people, when we see a man holding money out to a woman and then to thank him, she lets him kiss her foot. That's mistress shit. That right there is
S&M shit.
S&M. Yeah. S&M. She's a mistress. And then she shut the door and I'm like, wait, no, this is real life? He's serious? This is not an agreement. Just to make a funny... Oh my God. What the fuck have you become, man? Where are your balls? So I could go find them for you and reattach them.
They're eunuchs.
They're worse than eunuchs. They have twats. They're like, oh my God, it'll hurt your feelings. I'm so sorry I said that. Men, it's okay. Real women could withstand being called a bitch. I get called one every fucking... Matter of fact, after this video, I'm pretty sure anybody that listens to it will be like, that fucking bitch. From both sides. Male and female. And whatever you are. I don't want to insult anybody, you know. So I want to make sure that whatever you are is in there just in case they're, you know, fluid gender, whatever it's called. I don't want to insult you, so whatever you are is going to be your category. Because I can't remember all the shim and all that stuff and try and remember that if a whale farts, the fart bubble can encompass a horse. Because I feel that is more important information than remembering all those names.
What was the data said in that Star Trek movie? Ladies, gentlemen, and various transgender species?
Yes. Data was right. But then again, he's an android, so he's rarely wrong. Also, I feel obliged to let you guys know that honey, it's delicious. And the oldest, now pay attention because here it comes. The oldest sample was found in King Tut's tomb, dating back 3,000 years. And it was still edible.
What was that?
Honey. Serious.
Y'all thought MREs lasted a long time.
So, I'm just going to put this out there for all you apocalypse people that are like, if Trump gets elected for 4 more years, that's going to be the apocalypse. Stock up on honey. Like toilet paper, because you know the end of the world, you're going to need to wipe your ass. Water, you know, because Trump, oh my God, Trump is just that horrible that he would cause, you know, a nuclear war. And so there won't be any water or drinkable water, so, you know, stock up on that water. And honey. Instead of getting the MREs and all that stuff, get honey. Because, like, you could literally line your shelves with it, and 100 years down the road, after the apocalypse, your grandchildren can still be eating the same honey you bought. And they'd be thanking you. They'll be like, thank you, Grandma. Thank you for thinking of us.
They'd also be bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, probably not honey then. Well, leave the little turds some MREs. They last forever. Yeah. Proud sponsors of the 1712 Greek Olympics. What? That's what we need to do, folks. Robo vets. Listen up. This is our mission if we choose to accept it, but we'll probably forget it because it's way too fucking intense. We need to go and get an MRE and put a note on it, and put it in a time capsule and like bury it under a land that somebody's going to give to their children and their grandchildren and their grandchildren's children and all that shit down the line. And say, don't open for 3,000 years. And let's see if the honey or the MRE wins. We need a jar of honey too. Actually, I thought about it. We'd never know the results. But they would. And that's information that we would want to pass on to our descendants. And I'll even write a note. This is from Real with Robo. I know you all see my videos. If a whale farts, the fart bubble can encompass a horse, a full-grown horse. Just information, along with this test. Scientists would be like mad in the future about that. They'd be like, we finally solved it. An MRE indeed can withstand the test of time with honey. Okay, he's kind of looking at me all gloss-eyed, like deer in the headlights, like, how the fuck did this get to this? Okay, so on to...
I don't know, Reggie.
Do the laugh. Thank you. Do the Yoda laugh. I like that. I'm easily amused.
You like Yoda? Yes.
Anyway, so he's gone crazy now. He went Yoda crazy.
Hey, at least I'm not looking in the mirror like one of my drill instructors. I'm not crazy. You are. That was kind of kooky.
All drill instructors are crazy. I thought that was like a prerequisite. Think of it. Who in the hell that sane would say, I'll rip off your head and puke in your chest cavity? Other than Navy DI's Buzzy. Who would say that? A sane person could actually think, you're gonna look down there and go, bleh.
Maybe.
I mean, who else would think of, I'll rip off your face and skull fuck you?
No, it's poke out your eye.
Oh, poke out your eye and skull fuck you. Who the hell thinks of that? Well, other than me. And, well, anybody that served in the military and... But drill instructors are crazy. And I have a great argument for that. Look at them. End of argument. The defense rests. Oh, wait, no, the prosecution rests. I forget I'm the prosecutor. Anyway, back to what I was saying.
I know nothing. Nothing.
Oh, you know some things. Some things. Me and John were reading this thing where it said that, who was it, Joe Biden or that other guy? What was his name? The one that's running for president, the socialist, Marxist, commie.
Oh, Bernie.
Yeah,
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, Bernie. Bernie gave a lecture to ninth graders saying that America in Vietnam did more horrific things and or the same thing that Hitler did in World War II. And I'm like, first of all, Bernie, you're supposed to be a Jew. How in the fuck can you compare World War II to Vietnam? And then I started thinking, Hitler poisoned all those people. America poisoned all those vets. And yes, I believe America should be held accountable for that. That's the only way. Other than what? Well, apparently military folk needed to poop and pee. I'm sure they didn't hold it in for what, 7 years?
God, that caused all kinds of colon and kidney problems, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. And they probably had sex. Well, some of them. They drank various alcohols and water, probably some milk, some juice, and ate. Else how did they poop and pee and survive for those many years? And they probably slept. Not well, mind you, but they probably slept. That's the only way that they could have done. First of all, Hitler picked on the people that were defenseless. Now, if he was saying Hitler was like the Viet Cong, then I could see it. America didn't pick on the defenseless. Matter of fact, our vets were out there fighting for the Vietnam people who were being picked on and couldn't defend themselves. And this is a serious topic. When I talk about my vets, I get serious. It's no more joking and laughing and hardy har har har. I could joke about a lot of shit, but everybody knows who knows me. Vets are one of my triggers. And I'll say it right now. You speak ill of a vet, I get triggered. And they say, well, what about Lieutenant Colonel Vindman? It's Mr. Vindman. Okay? He has my respect for his service. But beyond that, from what I've learned about him as a person, and no, it's not just because, oh, well, he testified against Trump. What I've learned about him as a person, he's a dick. Okay? And he doesn't follow the rules. He says, I'm honorable. Well, honorable, why did you share secret information with 5 or 6 people? Well, my brother, he's in Intel too. Intel doesn't always share intel with Intel, depending on your security clearance. And apparently his brother was the leaker for that stupid book, because he's the only one who had access to it. I mean, you got to think on a line, guys. You got to use logic in this. Anyway, so back to Vietnam, okay? Well, not actually back to Vietnam, but back to the topic. Vietnam vets, and I know they don't view it as this, so I'm going to give you a new view, if you're listening, Vietnam vets. You steadily fought for someone else's country to defend someone else's people that were being picked on. Much like in World War II, the World War II vets fought for someone else's country and the world and someone else's people that were being picked on. Much like in Korea, where the Korean vets fought for someone else's country and their country people being picked on. Much like in the war that my brother was in, none of that shit had any kind of interest in America. Maybe except for World War II because, well, we didn't want to be German. Period. We wanted to be American. Irrelevant. In all them wars I just mentioned, and in many wars, the Iraqi war, the Irani war, the Afghani war, the every war, our vets have not been fighting for America and its people. We haven't had a war since the Revolution and a civil war. I mean, the world gave up trying to fight us on our own ground, so they let us fight amongst ourselves. Because that's the only way we'll win against America. Anyone will win against America. If it's America versus America, then America wins. And that's the only way we'll win. As far as enemies of the state figure it. If it's Americans versus Americans, it's a fair fight. If it's Americans versus anybody else, it's not a fair fight. It's almost a fair fight if they take 2, 3, 4, 5 countries and put them against us. Then it might be a fair fight. But Vietnam, they went through hell. Literal hell. Fighting for another country, another country's people, people that were being picked on by a greater power. So America said, no, that ain't right. That ain't right. And our vets said, you know what, I have a call to duty. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go kick some ass. And that's exactly what they did. In World War II, with Hitler, it took a group effort. Okay? A serious group effort. And I'm not leaving out all the Britishnese and Denmarkians and Russians and all them other people that fought in Vietnam, if they did. I'm focusing on what Bernie Sanders said. In World War II, Hitler decimated a people. He was a picker-on. He picked on people.
The picker-oner.
Yeah. And the Jews were the picker-onees. And everybody else were the picker-onees. And America, when Japan blew up Pearl Harbor, they said, excuse me? You said what now? And they went over there and did what they did, which was kick ass. Hitler lost World War II. Hitler failed. Hitler was useless against America. Hell, Japan combined with Hitler was useless against America. They all failed. And you gonna compare that to the Vietnam vets. The Vietnam vets did not fail. And I know a lot of people want to say, well, you know, the Vietnam War, we lost it. No, we didn't. Because if you look today, Vietnam has freedom. Well, whatever freedom they have. I don't study Vietnam. I don't study other countries like, oh, well, they have this, that, and the other thing, and can give you a breakdown on it. But basically, our vets did not fail. So, on that point alone, comparing our vets to Hitler and what he did, no. Once again, we won. And then on top of it, and I bet Bernie Sanders was back then too, and he was probably one of the ones spitting on the Vietnam vets when they came back. They came back to people telling them, don't wear your uniform. Don't be proud of who you are. Bullshit. And again, I say this in all sincerity. I'm sorry I was late to the party. Because I've been literally 86th out of airports. You could ask John. I'm not allowed to go in some airports because there was a protest against returning troops. And this one person had the audacity to fix his mouth to make a loogie. And he ended up swallowing my fist and that loogie. It's a true story. I pushed through the line of returning American soldiers. Told them, hold on, I need to cross here. I know there's like, little barriers and shit, but I need to cross right here because going around would be too long. And then I may accidentally kill him for what he trying to do. So I need to go on and take the short path and handle this right now. And I pushed them back, and they looked at me, and I looked at them, and they were just like, okay, we not fucking with you. And I crossed on over, walked up to the guy, and punched him square in the face. And then I jumped on his head like a spider monkey, a wild spider monkey, and took off on him. And it took 4 of those brave soldiers returning to peel my ass off them. And then all the cops and security came over there, and they looked at him, looked at me, and one of the Army folks that was returning, he said, "Are you okay? Are you cool now?" And I was like, okay, I calmed down. And he made the mistake of letting me go. And I was right back on him. Cussing, yelling, swearing, saying, how dare you not applaud our returning soldiers. And this was before it became, oh, it's cool to applaud returning soldiers. That just shows how American and patriotic you are when everybody finally had the balls to do it. Where nobody stood out by applauding them. Where it was cool. I beat that ass so bad that man was damn near hospitalized. And on his way out, I said, I'll be more than happy to go to jail. And the other person with him said, we're not going to press charges. They didn't feel the same as him, but they felt to whereas if they spoke out, they would be uncool. And me, I've never been about being cool or being accepted or being liked. I had my own mind. And so literally his mama said he got what he deserved. And she apologized to me and to the returning soldiers. Which of course they always in their humble nature, they were like, it's no problem, ma'am. I'm sorry that happened, I'm sorry. And I told them like this, basically. I said, you can arrest me if you want to. And they said, no, we'd rather 86 you out of these certain airports. And I was like, that's fine then. I'll take my ass on. And I turned to the lady and I said, you should have raised your son right. And she looked at me and looked down at her feet and she said, I know. My father is probably spinning in his grave right now because he fought in Vietnam. And I was like, and you would allow your son to do that? You would allow your son to do... You need your ass kicked. And that's when a nice, hot soldier... I wasn't with John at the time. When a nice, hot soldier escorted me with basically my hands above my head in a full Nelson out of the airport, so I didn't kick nobody else's ass. And he bought me dinner, and he said thank you for defending us, and I said no problem, I like to fight. I'm Irish, I like to fight. It's a true story. But they returned to shit like that and no one to defend them. After they went over there and defended a people that were not their own, just because that people were getting picked on. And of course, the anti-war people, like Bernie Sanders, was like, oh, well, they're part of the government and the government wanted to go over there because Vietnam has blah, 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 blah. I don't give a damn about the government. No true Democrat gives a fuck about the government, and we think they're in too much. They need to leave us the fuck alone, honestly. The Vietnam vets didn't go over there to fight for their bamboo shoots or whatever fucking products they had. The Vietnam vets went over there to defend. And while they were at it, they also defended a people who were being picked on. They gave their lives for little children that weren't their people. And you tell me, Bernie Sanders, that compares to Hitler. When Hitler took little kids and fried them in ovens, gassed them in chambers, that were your people, that American soldiers defended and fought for. You tell me that was the same thing? It's the same damn thing if you compare the Vietnam vets with the World War II vets and what they did, defending innocents. Instead of running away from bullets, they ran to them. They scooped children out of the crossfire and ran back, not thinking of their own damn lives, but thinking of that child. You dare compare what the Vietnam vets did in Vietnam with anything in World War II other than the honorable, filled with integrity defense that the vets gave in both wars. American vets from Vietnam are not only remembered and loved and cherished by American people, they are also legends, myths, mythical beings of heroism and bravery being told by those Vietnam children they rescued to their families and to their children around the fire. Vietnam vets are the epitome of badass defenders. Hitler was the epitome of punk-ass beta male. He had 15,000 people to look like him because he was a coward. He picked on innocents, mentally unstable people, elderly, while Vietnam vets defended them. And they defend all those types of people today. Hitler isn't around because of our World War II vets. And he probably took the coward's way out too by eating a cyanide pill. Vietnam vets, for all their hurt and anguish from that fucking war, they march on with their heads held high, proud, brave, brilliant.